elevating software testing with generative AI. So we are going to elevate our testing by getting the data or by helping getting the help from generative AI with the help of n number of data sets and number of data with the generative AI has. Okay. So first question I would like to share with you is why exactly are we shifting? Well, we have a line over there, a paradigm shift in quality assurance. So why are we shifting and what is the need to shift over here? Okay. So from manual test cases to automation, from coding to from let's say from coding, low code, no code platforms. Similarly, from the testing perspective, we are also taking generative AI to uncover hidden edge cases and optimizing the test processes. The second question is how are we shifting? So first we answered the question that why exactly we are shifting. The next question is how are we shifting going to it? So when it comes to generative AI, we have multiple AI models with vast amount of test data that can be used to generate test data along with designing effective prompts that guide AI tool to generate test data. So whenever you have an effective prompt given to any OpenAI model, to any Gen AI model, it would return you the set of test data, and that is how we are going to shift from regular to the next thing. I hope these two questions are clear and we are all set with what expectations we would have from these sessions and how we need to practice as and when we elevate our level to the next sessions. Correct? So let me just walk you through the next thing. How are we going to start and what are we going to do in this? So we have first of all the introduction, like what is Gen AI and basic of it. Then we have Gen AI in testing. We have prompt engineering. What is prompt engineering? Basic things. Data generation via prompts and prompt engineering basics. The third and the fifth kind of similar, but there is a difference when we go across through the slides and the content associated with it. So if we start with the introduction of this particular session, we have Gen AI. So what is Gen AI basically, right? So Gen AI is a subset of an AI, and this AI systems help in creating something new, correct? So the question arises, how do I generate an data set, right? That is the most important question which each and everyone is asking, which each and everyone is looking for over this particular session. So we will explore how generative AI can be used in testing and how do I generate data set with multiple combinations. Of course, so whenever we generating test data, we need to ensure that we are taking care of multiple combinations as well, right? Few of the domains when it comes to testing of test data, they need multiple combinations to ensure that the test data is relevant, and with help of multiple combinations you get the output in a multiple manners. So that's how we are going to ensure that this also is being taken care for this session. And at the end we will also look at how data can be generated using prompts and how generative AI can help uncover uncommon edge scenarios in testing. So our focus is not to get 5 test cases, to get 10 test cases from the user story or acceptance criteria. Our goal is to ensure that for a particular functionality or for a particular, let's say, application, what can be an edge scenarios which we as a QA might miss, might slip from our mind while we are testing, because we are focused on the acceptance criteria. This is each and every application, each and every project, whichever comes across our way, is mostly 95% on the agile part. We have multiple sprints, we have to deliver a set of test cases, and in that case few of the user stories are such that in which the data is more important rather than the functionality, right? So now let's take to the next thing, Gen AI in testing. So what is Gen AI, right? So let's say it is kind of used in testing to generate a wide variety of test cases, including edge cases that humans might not think of. That is, might slip, might forget, can be anything. How it works is you provide it with a prompt describing the software's functionality, and it generates a series of inputs to test that functionality. Now, may I request everyone can just open on your machine OpenAI, that is ChatGPT, and your task is, right. So let me just give you a task. Okay, so your task is that you need to Give me three test cases on search functionalities for a real estate domain with price, range, and square feet along with the city. Are we done? Just keep the test cases with you and let it be with you. Just let me know from 0 and 1 if you are done with this task. 1 is for yes, 0 is for no. And once you are done, we will compare how the response differs from yours and the prompt which we would use as of now. Okay, Bhushan, thanks. You are done. I'm waiting for others. You have probably 4 to 5 minutes to work on this and respond me on the same. Great. You people are fast. Amazing. Okay. So far, I would say more than 60% of people have done. Now let's focus on how it works. Right. So this is the first prompt with me. Okay. What it says, give me three test cases on search functionalities for real estate domain with filter like price, range, square feet, and city. Correct. Now, as you can see on your screen, you can see there's a basic search with the price range and city having the test steps and expected results. That's kind of basic, right? Because I have only given one liner prompt that is give me three test cases on functionalities. Most of you might have done this, and most of you have got the basic same answer with the city as New York or price as in the dollars. Let's see how we can refine it. On the right hand side, you can see I have given the prompt in much better way. Give me three test cases on search functionalities of real estate domain with filter like price range, square feet, and city. City should be of India. I need output in table format. Your three test cases should be as scenarios in search terms. Along with the test cases, also suggest me multiple unique set of data. Which one you will go for, one or two? Comment it in the messages. Which one is better, one or two? Great, amazing. Okay. So now here you can see exactly the difference of the response from Gen AI. So with this, we come to a basic first conclusion that we need to ensure that the prompt written is appropriate. The prompt should have details. The prompt should have an expectation set to what we need to have an output. And that's how we will be focusing on it. If you can see on the right hand side, you can see there's a test case. It is given a table format. You can see the test case description is better. The input data is overgiven and the expected output. You can see unique data set is also available with us, right? So this is just as an example of how we get multiple response based on a particular prompt which we are going to give into Gen AI. So far we are all set with the prompt thing. Now we move to the next thing is what are the benefits and challenges when it comes to working with this, right? Comes to benefits and challenges, it's mostly that includes ability to generate large number of diverse set, and it helps to uncover edge cases. That is the benefit, and it is more efficient. Second thing is challenges. Just because an AI generate large number of test cases doesn't mean those test cases all are useful or valid. Correct? So this is important point which you should understand while you work on this Gen AI thing. That let's say for any of the functionality, you might ask test cases, or any of the I would say functionality you might ask for test data. In that case, from the response you need to have confidence, or you need to have a process in which you need to ensure that how you are going to validate the data. Let's say for an example, I will give you the demo for an example. Let me just work after this. So let's say this is the benefit and the challenge, right? And just to give you information, some news, that is Sapiens is a kind of an automation testing tool which is used by Facebook. In that case, what it does, it creates multiple, I would say, uh, thousands and thousands of test cases for testing their mobile and mobile application and your their I would say web application. So that's how the Facebook is working, and they have started this AI tool I think 3 4 years back, in which they ensure that whenever there's a deployment, they have kind of new generated test data for testing this particular kind of functionality. So let me just go through one of the demo in which what we'll do, we will have a kind of demo in which we would see how we need to ensure that the test data or the test cases may not be the same as expected. All set. Let me just share my screen once again so that we are all on the same page. Okay, correct. So now all are able to see the screen. Thank you. So I need to have test data for validating mobile number field. Okay. Give me test data with valid and invalid data set to test the field. Ensure that data set is unique. Okay. This is the first thing, right? Okay. Again, we need to be specific. Let's be specific. You need to test, you need to generate mobile number validation test data with the help of BVP and EP. What is BVP over here? Boundary value analysis, and EP is equivalence partitioning. Your country code is +91. You need to focus only on the 10 digits after the country code. I need the output in table format with expected column for each of the test data. Okay. Now, over here, just because I have asked GenAI to give me test data based on BVA and equivalence partitioning, it has divided it. Now, out of this, as a QA, as overall our testing purpose, do we think we need to check all the 10 things over here? Again, you need to understand, if you see this is same, right? Is it making sense over here, guys? Understand this. It is not just blindly copy pasting the GenAI. It is about understanding, analyzing the response which GenAI is giving to us. If you see this and this both means the same. This and this both means, I will say which one? This both means the same, right? So out of this, we need to cherry pick whichever is important and valid for our particular test case. Just to conclude it over one line, whenever you give anything to Gen AI, right, you need to ensure that the response, you need to analyze it, that what is the response it is giving. From the response, you need to cherry pick what items you need to add in your own test data. Okay. Let me just give you one more example. And over here, so where was that? Okay, let me just do it over here. Okay, so let's say we are using a search functionality. Okay, e-commerce domain, right? So you need to give me 5 edge scenarios for testing search functionality with filter like price, RAM, and what else do we have? Battery level. Okay. Now the search term should be iPhone, and your test data should be in table format. Also, you need to ensure that the search term includes or includes edge filters that customers might use for searching the product. Okay, so here it is. Again, just understand this as of now that battery level might differ over here, but you can see what are the edge things we are working on it as of now. So the price filter started from somewhere to zero, that is included the next set of filter, then the third, fourth, and then the fifth is all price. So Gen AI, using Gen AI, we can ensure or we can work upon few of the test data generation that would help us to get closer towards more refined testing with the help of test data which we can generate. Okay. Let me have one more thing over here. So let's say I did some basic things over here. Okay. So let me just do this. Mostly we have form kind of things in our testing processes, right? Most of the application, right? So generate 5 test cases for letting the first name, last name. You need to include edge cases into it. Also give me test data for the same. You need to give me the output in the table format, right? This is the most common basic thing which every QA has to go through whenever there's a new application or a new project that comes on board for testing. Apart from login, of course, login everyone knows, right? Let us see how it works. Okay, just a minute. Okay, fair enough, right? What are we getting over here? We are getting all these things which are needed as of now. That is case one, case two. Yes, Swapnil, you will get domain-specific test cases as well. Again, I would say that you need to ensure that you are training the model or you are working on it. It might not get you answer in the first prompt. You need to refine your prompt multiple times to get the desired answer. That is to be that comes while practicing. So if you see, if I'm writing the prompt over here, I'm not giving one-liner prompt over here. Whatever my prompts are, they are more of multiple lines, that is three, five, and it may take to the next level as well, right? Okay, so let's say when it comes to domain specific, so when it comes to telecom domain, you need to first ensure that what are the common functionalities that comes under telecom domain, and related to that there would be some generic functionalities for that you can work upon it, and then it can help you to generate test cases accordingly. But you need to feed in much information in that case. If you're not able to feed in much information in that case, then it is not going to give you the expected output. That's how it works when it comes to Gen AI. Of course, billing prospects would have multiple test data into it, and it would require, I would say, it would require multiple hands-on training when it comes to that particular thing. Okay, so I hope as of now this is so far understood that how Gen AI works. How are we going to write the prompt when it comes to writing the prompt? How I would say how much clarity a prompt should have with while you are writing the prompt, and that's how it will give you the output. We will focus as of now. Go back to our slide. We will go through some basic theory. Uh, Ali, as of now, the automation part is different from this. This is the session is only focused on getting the test data. This is the raw test data which we would be using for the testing, because that is what is the session focused for. Automation comes in a different way. That's a different part of this particular Gen AI. Okay, so let's focus back on our slides. We will focus back onto the basic theories, and then we will definitely come back to some of the live examples while we work upon the things. Just a minute. Let me just give you the link of this. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So far, we are all set with this particular thing, right? We know what are the benefits, challenge, and all those things over here. Let's move to the next thing. So as you can see, by using prompts, we can instruct AI models to generate wide variety of text data. That's what we did for the demo, right? So now here is the kind of, I would say, a thing to you that you can see there's a demo site over here that is automation practice form. So now in this, the prompt you can see on the right hand side over here, you can see how much detailed it is. You're able to get, like I would say, you are able to relate that how clarity should be there in the prompt. That is in the form field of this. In a form, there is a field of date. You need to generate 10 data sets for testing the date of birth. Considering today's date, whatever date you want to give, you need to give me output in table format. You need to also type the date by text field, and there is option to select from drop down as well. Give me 10 unique set of data to help me to validate the date value. Are you able to relate this? That when it comes to date part or few of the specific areas where the data plays an important or vital role to ensure that the testing is done in a correct way, right? So everything and anything is based on prompt. It's like how you feed in, and that's how you are going to get the output of it, right? So that is one thing. You can practice it. I have given the link to you. You can practice by generating test data for the multiple fields which are there as a part of this form, I would say. And that's how you can get the output. You can play around with the data set and you can try testing because that's a testing side. Now, moving to the next thing is relating to the data generation of prompts. You can see that on the mobile number field, which we did a demo over here. So let's say on the right hand side, you can see there's a test case 2 and test case 3, right? Enter the minimum valid mobile number and the enter maximum valid mobile number over here. So now this kind of test cases, when it comes to getting the data, we need to focus or we need to ensure that how are we cherry picking those things, right? Because in both the cases, things are same. Because it is saying mobile number is accepted as valid, and here also it is saying it is accepted as valid. So we need to ensure that while we are going through the output, we need to ensure that what kind of cherry picking we are doing when it comes to generative AI giving us test cases or test data for our prompt. The same prompt which we used earlier being written over here, that you need to test mobile field, give me only relevant test cases along with the test data, and that's what we have done in the previous example, right? Prompt engineering basics, this is what we are going to focus on as of now. So first of all, the question is, what is it? Okay, so the first question is, what is it? What is prompt engineering exactly? Everyone is saying this is kind of a buzzword these days. You need to have prompt engineer, the prompt engineering, all this is buzzword. What is it? So it is an art and science of crafting effective AI input instructions to generate the desired output. Again, I will reiterate this, is the art and science of crafting effective AI input. So it is not about output, it is about input that is to be focused on. If the input is in an effective manner, you are definitely going to get the desired output of it. Okay. What are the key components of prompt? When it comes to prompt, what are the key components of prompt? So it is like you need to be clear and you need to have a domain specific language. When I say domain, it is what you are going to expect. I mean, what kind of expectation you have from the output, that is what is domain over here. Frame request intent and idle response. So it is like what exactly, I would say, a range in which you want to have. Real world example is something where you are going to train AI that what kind of data you need. So let's say for any of the industry or let's say domain, there might be some different set of data where the AI might not understood at the initial level. So in that case, you can provide an example that this is the example which you need to work upon it. Okay. The next is set parameters to constraint model output. So so as we did BVA and EP, equivalence partitioning, right? So we are giving parameters that that hey AI, you need to only work between these two things. You need to ensure that you are not going out of this particular concept. So that's it. Those are the key components of this. The next is type of prompts. So we have been writing multiple prompts so far when it comes to our prompts. So what are these different types of prompts we have? So over here we have, first is descriptive prompts. So when it comes to descriptive prompts, we need to ensure that Our prompt is descriptive and it helps to generate like for example generating test data for login from for a login form including this and that information. All those things comes under a descriptive prompt. The next is exemplar prompt. So when it comes to exemplar prompt, it's like we would say giving an example. So let's say I would say generate a series of test cases for such functionality, right? Which we did, similar to the TC used for testing Google search. Now, when I say similar to the testing used for Google search, I am giving an example over there. Include scenarios. This is what I'm focusing on, that you need to include scenarios with typos, misspellings, and irrelevant keywords, right? So that's how exemplar prompt works. The third over category of prompt is contextual prompt. So contextual prompt is kind of, let's say, for an example, you are asking to have a comprehensive set of test cases, sorry, a set of test data for an e-commerce product catalog, right? So when it comes to a product catalog, you need to ensure that there are some parameters or attributes associated with it. So let's say considering the product variations like pricing and options and compatibility with different payment gateway. It it is something you need to practice day in day out for the work which you are doing. That's how you can get trained to how the prompt work when it comes to prompt thing. The last second is creative. Creative, I'm sure everyone is knowing about it. So let's say creative. How many of you came across a situation where uh, the scope was not of testing, but somehow the tester missed it? Like I would say, the scope was not in acceptance criteria, neither in user story, but it was kind of by default QA's responsibility to ensure that it should work. Have you came across some situations over there? Right, everyone? I'm sure about it, right? Okay, so when it comes to creative, so here is the prompt of example prompt of it. So let's say, imagine a user attempting to exploit a vulnerability in a web application, right? So generate a sequence of test cases that simulate various attack vectors such as SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and unauthorized access towards database or API attempts. So that's how it works when it comes to creative. That you are asking that you are requesting Gen AI that give me output related to this particular things. Now, when it comes to let's say SQL injection, cross-site scripting, unauthorized access, this might be a case where while working day in day out of user story, working day in day out of acceptance criteria, as a human, as a QA, we might miss it, right? But when you keep such things in mind, when you have such tools, when you are exposed to such tools, I am sure that you will definitely stand out different from such kind of situations that would help you to get closer and more perfect towards delivering the quality output. And the last is constraining prompts. So when we say constraining prompts, is like generating test cases for, let's say, performance critical API, ensuring the test data adheres to some specific requirements, data size, frequency, and concurrency or latency levels. So that's how you are just adding a constraint that, this is the constraint where you need to generate the test cases. So that's how it works. So far, so good. Everyone with me, you all understood so far that what is prompt engineering, what are the key components, and how we need to have the types of prompts, right? So now let's come to one thing. Let me give you one of the demo over here in which it will give you test cases based on the user story. Okay. Again, there's a disclaimer to it. Do not do it in your live application because it is a data constraint. Okay. If any of your client's data is being hosted on Gen AI, the data is gone forever. I mean, the data is out of the particular thing. So there are multiple NDAs that work across, but you can tweak some of the information when it comes to user stories, and then you can work upon on thinking how the this particular things would work. Okay, so let's just go through it once. Okay, so now my prompt is a huge over here. I will give you one by one. I will just set the context over here. So this is a see when it comes to Gen AI, there are multiple tools. Okay, so you can be comfortable with any of the tool whichever you feel. I feel this is comfortable when it comes to generating test cases from user stories. So I work with this. You might be using OpenAI while you are working. You might be using Bard, that is Google Bard. You might be using Poe. There are multiple AI tools that works on this particular concept of Gen AI, right? So be comfortable with whatever tool you can. At times there might be a case in which uh, multiple tools might give you multiple different set of answers to it, depending on what kind of backend model they are using. Okay, so here is my first set of prompt. I will give you a user story and acceptance criteria for which you need to help me to generate edge test cases along with the test data. Ensure to give me edge cases and also mention points what should be verified. This is a prompt and this is an incomplete prompt. Let me give the prompt more further detail because we learned just now that prompt should have further details. So here is my next same thing. You need to ensure that you include database, backend, front end, API for generating edge case scenarios. These test cases are manual and so you need to give me output in table format. Fair enough with the prompt. You're able to understood the prompt as of now, everyone? Okay, all with me? Great. Still, now there is one more thing left in this prompt. I'm saying if you have understood the above prompt, only say yes, and in the next, I will give you user story and acceptance criteria. Now you can see my prompt over here. It is not one line, two line. It is particularly, I would say, 336, somewhere around 8 to 9 lines. Right now, what have we done over here? We have not just started giving it user story and give me the test cases on it. We are preparing the AI that you know what, I need this help. So you need to understand that what input I'm going to give you and what output I'm expecting. So now we have set the context with AI that, hey Gen AI, I am going to give you user story acceptance criteria. You need to give me edge cases based on this particular area. So we have set the AI into it. Okay. So I have some dummy, I would say, user story with the acceptance criteria, right? So let me just copy paste that over here. So user stories, as a user, I want to able to register for the service so that I can start shopping online. Acceptance criteria, user can only submit a form by filling in all the required details and multiple things as a part of acceptance criteria. All excited to see how it would perform, right? Let me just see. Again, this test is based on the acceptance criteria. If the person who is working on acceptance criteria is not I would say it's not much, but if they are the acceptance criteria not much refined, I would say then the test cases might differ. How many of you think this is exciting and this will save your n number of hours when it comes to going through this particular sessions? I would say user story and all those things, right? Great. Okay, so we have last 3 minutes. I will just give you a quick research kind of tip over here, how we can do the research and all these things. So there is, so far you have understood this, right? How this works and how you need to prepare the Gen AI for setting up all the expectations, and then you can take up to the next level. Correct? Okay. So there's one more tool known as Perplexity AI, right? So let me just give you this. So how this works? So let's say I'm asking this that you need to give me core functionalities of. So we had a question from one of the QA telecom domain, and let me know what are the major testing that should be included as part of software testing relevant to uh, billing prospects. I need focus only on core areas of the domain. Okay. So now this particular tool, what it does, it goes to this particular part, I would say internet, and then it will gets you all these things. So let's say it is saying functional testing, performance testing, security testing, interpol testing, protocol testing, and automation testing. So Apnil, I hope this is aligned with what you are going to, what you do testing as a part of your domain, right? So this particular thing would help you while doing, you are working on any of the research. Let's say you get a particular I would say document or something for a particular domain in which you need to work. And in that case, you are going to learn, I mean, you are going to read it, you are going to understand, analyze, and do multiple things. So it's better you get into a particular AI that, hey, this is the domain, what are the testing involved into it. So similarly, we can have, let's say, give me four functionalities that are focused on testing for travel and hospitality domain. I only need major areas for testing that are impacted from users and are most. You need to be much, I would say, used to writing prompt, then only you will think upon it. Frequently used by users. So I'm just turning on the Copilot. Copilot is kind of additional AI tool. So now Copilot will ask you something over here. So it will give you the 21 resources. See, when it comes to travel and hospitality, booking and reservation system, user experience testing, performance, security, payment gateway, mobile testing, localization, integration, all this part would be considered as a part of testing. So this would come to you when you are doing a particular research and everything, right? Ali, it is nothing kind of, I would say, there's no kind of comparison when it comes to this is better or not, right? It's all about how you are comfortable with the tool and how output the tool works. When it comes to, you can give the prompt to multiple set of tools and that's how it will give you the output, right? So that's how it works. Let us just go back to our theory part and we'll just conclude few of the things as a part of this session. Let me just open and share with you guys. Okay. Okay, so we have gone through the prompt engineering. So this is the basic. These are the most important descriptive prompts. All this we have gone through it. I have given you the examples of what this particular prompts means. And what is the best practices for designing prompts? First is assign role. So this is also one part of prompt which you can do it. That let's say you are assigning a role that you know you are a QA manager, or let's say you are a senior QA automation engineer, or you are a QA which is having experience in particular industry, particular domain with 15 years of experience. You are setting up the thing. If you relate this assigned role to what we have done for user story and acceptance, right? We have first set the ground that you know what, I need this, and that's how you need to just give me the output of it. Okay. Styling output, what kind of output we are focusing on, valid use cases, offers, clear call, all those things. Be specific. This is what we are focused on when it comes to the input part, that you know you would like to invite X to discuss how your supply chain management services can help. So this is a problem over here, right? So what you need to be specific about the problem which you are going to ask Gen AI for giving you the answers. Also, you can add the conditions, whatever conditions you need to add in, like how we added conditions that we are only focused on X scenarios. We are not focused on day in, day out scenarios or the basic scenarios when it comes to generating test cases from acceptance criteria. We are focused on, I would say, edge cases. So that's how we are adding the conditions over here. And the last is provide data. So this can be an example that what kind of domain we are focusing on, what domain we are working on, and that's how you can provide the data to particular prompt. I hope you have understood this. I mean, you are relating this to what we have done so far. And we now I'm open to have question answers, so you can ask your question. Okay, so we have first question is, can we generate UI front end development from Gen AI prompt engineering? Yes, you can. Everything depends on prompt. Is it possible to listen all AI tool which are most useful for QA? Each and every AI tool is useful for QA, I would say, Ali. It's just the game of prompt, like the Game of Thrones. It's a game of prompts, which would depend. The same prompt can be used for Bard. It will give you some different output. So it's depending on how you're using the prompt to the best in multiple AI tools. Any other questions do we have? So I think English language writing skill plays vital role for Gen AI. Am I correct or not? Yes, Bhushan. English language do work as an important area, because unless and until you are not getting much clear in the input prompt, you are not going to get the output. I mean, the output will differ.